We started commissioning portraits in 1979, and it was part of the opening of our 20th century galleries as they were then. Since then, we've commissioned around 180 portraits. So they form the basis really of the contemporary collection, and that's in all media. Traditionally, we commission 5 or 6 portraits a year, but we always have many more than that in the pipeline. Each commission is completely unique. We have commissioned 16 very prestigious commissions, all sponsored by JP Morgan. The most exciting part of what I do in the commissioning process is to put the artist and the sitter together. That is where sparks fly. Our commission programme always gets a lot of press attention. There's great sort of public warmth in general towards our commissioned portraits. And I'm thinking in particular of the portrait of Simon Weston by Nicky Phillips, which was a BBC-funded commission. The subject was voted for by the British public. It was incredibly successful and hugely popular. BP fund a whole series of commissions and have done since the early 80s. The first prize winner is awarded a commission on an annual basis. The commissioning process really begins with a trustees' discussion. So my role as contemporary curator is to work with the director and the chief curator and indeed the other period curators. And what we do is we put forward to the trustees a number of names of people we think are interesting, who've achieved great things in different areas. The trustees themselves also come up with names. We have a discussion about this group. Out of that, we usually get 1 or 2 names that are sort of streets ahead of the other names, and they become the subjects of our new commissions. We write to them and invite them to come in for a meeting to discuss the possibility of a portrait commission. We'll walk them around the galleries, show them our commissioned portraits and discuss possible artists with them. Sometimes people come along with very clear ideas of how they see themselves. Other times people really don't have any sense of that. And so it's for us to put forward suggestions and ideas. So then we invite into the gallery the sitter together with the artist. They're meeting each other usually for the first time. So this is a very sort of informal conversation to see really if there's chemistry between them, because if there isn't, then at that point it doesn't go any further than that. But if there is, then they exchange numbers and contact details and go off and begin the portrait process. When the artist is satisfied with the portrait, the director and I then go and see it and agree that it should come into the gallery, and it's shown to the other curators. That's the first stage. And if they approve it, then it goes forward to the next trustees meeting. We have 4 trustees meetings a year, and ultimately it's the trustees' decision about whether the portrait enters the collection. We do hope that sitters will come and see their portrait when it's completed, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes they're seeing it for the first time on the day of the unveiling, which can be quite a shock to see themselves hanging on the walls for posterity. We hope to continue working with some really exciting contemporary artists and creating some surprises of artists that you wouldn't necessarily associate with portraiture, coming up with great commissioned portraits of figures that you may not have heard of in everyday life.